Welcome to Turn Talks, the podcast that bridges the gaps between college and career. Join your host, Tina Fox, founder of Turn Mentoring, as she brings together corporate leaders, educators, and university alumni to share practical wisdom and equip you with confidence, clarity, and connection.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Turn Talks. I'm Tina Fox, the founder and CEO of Turn Mentoring. And today we have a wonderful guest by the name of Scott Seibel. Scott and I were introduced when I went out to the great state of Colorado, had a chance to not only get some work done out there, but also explore some of the beautiful areas just outside of CU Boulder, which is where Scott is a junior at the moment. And we also got a chance because my 17-year-old helped me on this trip and we went touring. And so I met Scott because he was our tour guide. And we had an amazing time and I was absolutely amazed with him and his story. So we decided to have Scott join us. So welcome, Scott. It's so good to see you.
So glad to see you. I hope you guys had a best time on tour. I was really excited. It was honestly one of my better tours. So I'm glad that you guys were on that one. It was really fun.
You nailed it. That's for sure. Now, let me ask, since you guys told us that you have 320 some odd days of sunshine, is it a sunny day out there?
Today is not. It's really cloudy. We got no snow this year. And so I'll take the rain right now. Help with the fires, definitely. But I also really love the rain. I'm from just south of Seattle.
Yeah. So let's talk about this because I do think that you would be somebody that likes rain because you also mentioned that you were a mermaid on our tour. And I was like, wait a minute. He's saying that he's a mermaid. And I immediately honed in on that because my group of college girlfriends and I, over time, we've called ourselves a lot of different things, but somehow we ended up on the term that we're the mermaids. And so when I heard you were a mermaid, I was like, oh, could it be? I met another one. So tell us a little bit about the mermaid comment.
So I've been a swimmer my entire life. And since I got to see you, it's way more whimsical to say I'm going to go play mermaids than it is to say I'm going to go swim a bunch of laps. And so I will just tell my friends, well, yeah, no, I'm going to go play mermaids right now. And then everyone kind of understands what that means now, where it's just me going to the pool. It's just me going to do a swim workout. But I spend so much of my time around a pool and that it doesn't really even feel like I'm doing swimming and just having this in the laps. It just feels like I'm having a good time. Just feels like I'm getting to be free for an hour at a time. And so it's really just more like playing mermaids than it is actually doing a workout, which is really fun. Honestly, it's a big relief of my day when I get to quote unquote go play mermaids. And it's really funny because on every single tour I go, I'm the founder and only member of the Mermaid Club here at CU Boulder. And it's actually a little bit of a lie because you have to have two people to have a club. And so I can't be the only person in the Mermaid Club. And so I keep telling every single person on tour that applications are open. And if you'd like to join, the process is pretty rigorous, but no one's joined. So it's really just me alone playing mermaids, which is really, to me, it's really funny. And it makes people laugh. And it kind of starts, especially on tour, it kind of starts off really nicely and lets everybody loosen up a little bit because some people get really nervous.
I was going to say, we can hope that maybe if somebody's listening to this podcast at CU Boulder, they will apply to become a mermaid. And then you will be an official club. Now, I got to ask, you could sweeten the pot because you have an indoor pool, lovely things, but you have one of the only buffalo-shaped head outdoor pools. And I think it's the only one where you said the hoof is a hot tub.
It's got jets in it. It's super fun. And then I had one person on tour be like, we were sitting outside the buffalo-shaped pool, and they're like, okay, so if I jump from here into the pool, do I automatically get into the Mermaid Club? And I went, no, because it's the bigged safety concern I've ever seen in my life. But if you do it, that would be really cool. And so I've tried being I've added a few things where I'm like, well, it's a great place to come out and fix your tan line. I know that's what I'm doing right now when I go swimming at the buff pool because it's outside. I only started going to the buff pool this year. Like I didn't used to swim at the buffalo shaped pool because I was like, I'm not one of those people. Like I'm gonna go outside in my Speedo and swim in front of everybody. And then I stopped caring because I was like, it's sunny outside and I want to swim in the buffalo shaped pool. And no one else in the morning ever goes and swims in it because the buffalo shaped pool is freezing cold. And so it's kept all of the pools are supposed to be kept at the same temperature. But because this pool is outside, it takes way more to heat it. I know way too much about pool heating because it's part of my other job that I've got. But I don't know if their system's beefy enough to be heating the outdoor pool. And so the outdoor pool is like 5 degrees cooler than the indoor pools are. And in the pool world, that's considered like ice, like it's freezing cold. And so like if it were just a regular day, I would totally go out there and just kind of enjoy it. But like today, it's a way too cold to even be in the pool because there's no sunshine.
Well, I would figure you guys have a pretty significant, speaking of buff, you have a pretty buff lead system, right? LED. And so isn't it, that's the business school, right? It's
Yeah.
the lead business school. So you would think that all of the lead folks that could figure out a way to get that outdoor pool warmed up in an environmentally favorable manner. So that could be something that the university could work on. I think that
I think our engineers could totally get on that somehow.
yeah. And as the president of the Mermaid Club, you should probably champion that.
I really should be asking for that. You're right.
Yeah. Now, just that's to add on to your list. So you mentioned you have other jobs. So not only are you the sole member of the non-club, the Mermaid Club, however, you are a junior at CU Boulder. You are in political science. So this is under the College of Arts and Letters. Is that right?
Arts and science.
Arts and science. Okay. You also are studying secondary education.
Yep.
Because you did mention that maybe at some point in your life you might come back and be a teacher, although I think you are already teaching with everything you do.
I do a lot when it comes to working with kids, but I think like in my younger years post grad, I don't think the first thing I want to do is go teaching and be a teacher. I have all of my favorite teachers in my high school career, which is where I'd want to go, all like explored and then came back. And then they were like experts in their field. Some are like professors. They go out, they do a bunch of research, they get experts, they become experts in their field. And then they come back and they start teaching. That's kind of what I want to do. The problem is that whole post grad part, there's so many options. I just don't know what I'm going to do.
Well, you're very plugged in, and so I'll share with the audience when you were taking us around for the tour, you are an RA, which I automatically think of people in a different sense when they're an RA because you've got to herd the cats, you've got to manage to a lot of people's problems. This is how you get a management degree without getting a management degree in a university. You become an RA, right? So you're an RA. You're also a CA, but you're a CA to the second power because you're a CA classroom assistant for the president's leadership class, and you're a CA community assistant for what you call the quad. And then you're also an ambassador. I called you tour guide, but you're an ambassador for a CU. And that is how I learned all of this. On top of the fact that even though you're in this great state of Colorado, and you mentioned you applied to Washington, but that's where you hail from, somehow you manage in this long distance situation to be the aquatic manager and head swim coach for the Fairwood Golf and Country Club to look up for that. So how is it, I know you're thinking about post-grad and I want to go there in a minute, but because you still got another year. How is it that you have so many jobs on campus, and don't you take a pretty heavy load too?
Yeah, this is the first semester I'm not taking the maximum credit load at CU. I'm only technically taking 17 credits, which is kind of like the mid area. I mean, if you add the class that I'm helping teach, it's more like 20 credits, but that's a job, so it doesn't count. But the whole situation I think kind of comes from like my mom. Like I learned how to manage myself because of my mom. And one of the lessons my mom indirectly taught me was how to have a good calendar. And so you've got to have everything kind of labeled out. You've got to have everything set in stone and then like planned out. Like I am not a I'm not a whimsical person very much. I don't like to fly by the seat of my pants. I like everything to be kind of scheduled out. And that's great for like my week because I can just look at my week at a glance. Every single week, I know exactly what's going to happen. It's terrible for things like when I want to schedule other things going on in the world. Like it takes a long time to be like, okay, well, maybe I can move this over. Maybe I can do all of this. But I'm also completely funding my college experience by myself. And so there's two kind of veins that I'm thinking about all of this. I, number one, need to make sure that my academics are taken care of and that I'm doing as much as I possibly can here. To those who do not know, CU is pretty expensive. As amazing as a university as this is, it is really expensive to be here. And at the same time, I'm going to take full advantage of that. And so I would rather take all the classes I possibly can each and every single semester to learn as much as possible because I'm here and it's expensive. And I mean, to be at the maximum credit load, it's only like an extra like $500 to add all of those extra classes.
Okay.
Whereas if I were just taking the minimum credit load, I'd be paying all of that money to not be doing the maximum amount allowed. And so I'm like, I'm here. Even if it means I have to pay a little bit extra, I'm going to take as many classes as I possibly can and like learn as much and like almost like diversify my portfolio of what I know and like my brain and like what my knowledge. And so that's like kind of vein one. And then vein two for all of the jobs that I have is I've got to pay for it. And so my whole thought process is if there's a job on campus, I'm going to go try and get it because it's going to help pay for my school. So my RA position pays for my housing and my food. So that's like 20 grand right off of the bat right there that I don't have to worry about.
Wow.
And I don't have to pay a monthly rent, which a lot of students here struggle with. And some people get help from their parents. And although my parents are in the corner supporting me and they love me and they're super proud of me, they can't help financially support me. And so they couldn't send over like 2 grand a month for rent because that's just not reasonable for them. So it was kind of from the get-go, I had to figure out how to pay for housing. And that was one of the reasons I did choose CU is because becoming an RA had such great perks associated with it. Now, most universities, those RA positions do have something similar to that, but CU's worked out really well because this is just the school that I really wanted to go to. And so the fact that they had all these programs for RAs was super helpful.
You can't be an RA as a freshman, right? So you came on campus and then you can apply as a sophomore?
So you apply, the window for applying for the RA position here at CU is like 2 weeks at the beginning of the first month of school. And so if you don't do it those first 2 weeks, that opportunity is gone until next year. And I was really nervous about that at first because I was like, I need this job. It was a decision that I made with my parents. So it's like, I will go to CU for a year and I will figure out how it works. And if I can't become an RA, I can't afford to go to this school anymore.
Wow.
And so,
well, did you have a backup plan?
I really didn't. I kind of was like, I'm going to figure this out. And so the first week I was here, I went to every single event that was held within my building area so that I could get to know all of the RAs and I could get to know the hall director of the department where I was living so that I could get to know them better, get to know what the job was going to be like, get to know what the interview was going to be like. And it's really funny because that first week that I was getting to know all of these people, I went into it being like, I need this for me. Like, this is for me. And then I got to know all of these people and I just genuinely enjoyed all of the time that I was spending with them. And so I joined the community council. My first year I was here, I joined the community council, which is like let's plan events for the building. Let's have a pizza party. Let's watch the Super Bowl together. As RAs plan events, but also students can plan events if they want to as well. So I joined that. And that is what I found out later. One of the top things that the people hiring RAs are looking for is like, were you on community council? It's not a really hard job, but it shows you know how to use all of the systems in the background. You know how to work with the department and you're getting to know how to work with the other people in the building. And so it's probably one of the easiest little clubs that I was a part of, but it was really great to be a part of that because it helped transform what the rest of my experience would be like. And at that point in time, when you've just started college, something that I learned pretty quickly is everything you did in high school becomes null and void. No one really cares anymore what your high school resume looks like. The second you get to college, you've got to have college things on your resume. And so other people join fraternities, other people do a bunch of clubs, other people start their own business. And I walked in to see you and I was like, I have no idea what I want to do. I joined CU, admitted into the president's leadership class, which I tend to just call PLC. And that was really great because it's a scholarship program. But I had no idea really what it was. And so joining COCO, which was the community council, and getting involved with other aspects of the university was really important to me because I was like, okay, well, I've got to figure out how to be an RA. I've got to figure out some other on-campus jobs. And so far, it's worked out pretty well. I do really like being an RA because I get to like connect with a bunch of people. And then next year, they're changing everything about being an RA. And so my whole job next year is just to plan events, just to connect with students. I don't have to do any of the like staying up late. Like I was on call last night. I have my on-call phone. Oh, it's a little hard to see. I have my on-call phone right here.
Is that really a flip phone?
It really is a flip phone.
Oh, yeah.
Like a real flip phone.
So old school. Love it.
So I was on call last night. So if there's anyone ever like, it can be anything from I need a temp key to I'm having a medical emergency to I'm worried about my roommate and everything in between. They can call the RAs and then we'll go do a spot check on them. We can either solve the problem with the students themselves. We can check in on the students, but anytime it gets past a certain point, then we just call the police or we call the residential security officers. And they can come help the students, which is really great. But next year, I won't have to do that at all. So this is one burden I will not have to carry. It's probably the hardest part about the job. And so I'm really excited about that.
You're like a doctor. You're on call 24/7, basically.
Basically.
Well, okay. Let me go back to something that I think is really important. So first of all, kudos to your mom for teaching you about time management and getting you on a calendar system that you can appreciate. I love the fact that you give a nod to time management being one of the key ways that you're able to manage multiple jobs and take more than a full credit load as a student. The other thing that you said that I found really important is this whole, you just showed up early and often. Now you had a mission, which is the money's going to run out and I'm not going to be able to stay here if I don't figure this out in my first year. So you had a high motivating factor and you ended up going out there and networking. But you are also, Scott, you're like a really gregarious guy. I mean, this is why you're an ambassador. So, for people that are, okay, another thing that you said very important was, and nobody cares about your high school resume when you come to college. So for people who may be a little shy, not as outgoing, they probably had a really great resume in high school in order to get into a college like CU Boulder. What would you say to them? You probably an RA to many of them. What would you say to them as far as, and this is what you should do, or this is how you overcome that in order to go out and be involved?
There's a few different things I could do. So I had a family member who recently started, who was about to start college like this last year. And so I had a little chat with them and to be like, okay, the hardest part about your first year experience, and you can disagree with me until you've finished your first year, but the hardest part is going to be the first week that you're there. You do not get to, don't sleep in, don't go to bed early. You're going to want to be out, getting to know everybody on your floor, getting to know everybody around, joining different clubs. And you just have to join the club for the week. But that first week to me, and as an RA now that I've seen it multiple years in a row, I've kind of almost decided for myself that is the right answer. But that first week is so incredibly important on just meeting people. And that could be meeting people on your floor, to meeting the president of the university, to meeting your future job, to meeting the lettuce eating club founder. So you're just going out that first week and just to go explore. And especially at a campus like CU, go take your friends hiking. There's so many hiking opportunities. Go get dinner every night with a new person or the same people, but really start making connections with people. Because after that first week is over, you've got school. And so everybody's priorities are going to shift. You've got 1 week of pure socialization where you can just go out, just explore. The world expects nothing of you. during that first week of college. And what's really nice about being a college student is the world really is just like you're in college, like we don't really expect a lot with you, which is why I love everything that I've been doing because everyone's like, wait, like, aren't you like super busy? Like, don't you have any things? And I was like, yeah. And I'm proving myself to nobody. And now I'm blowing everybody's socks off. Like, I'll take the ego boost for sure. Um,
I never heard
but
it described that way, but you're absolutely right. It's almost like you get a little bit of a buy because
mhm,
you're in this purgatory, right? You're in post-secondary. You
mhm,
haven't moved into the official real world of career yet. Yeah,
yeah.
I like that. I like that outlook.
And so, and then after that first week is over, everyone's working on classes and really getting vested in the clubs that they've decided to join, and they're starting to settle. But that first semester, once people start to settle, I like to say like the relationships turn into like temporary concrete. So like you don't budge. That after that first semester, you make friends that first week, and then that's kind of how it sticks for the rest of that semester. Now, it is super common, and this is kind of just like, I've seen this every year, plus I experienced it myself. The end of that first semester or the beginning of that second semester is where a lot of friendships change. And people are like, you weren't really the people I thought I would wanted to be with, or I think I've changed a lot in this first semester, and I don't think that my friends kept up with me. Or these people are my people. I don't have any other people and I don't want any other people. But by the end of that first semester and the beginning of that second semester is when those relationships really start to, they either start to crumble or they start to break and you start to rebuild them.
Hmm.
But that's when people like start going to dinner less with each other or they start bringing their significant others to dinner with you. And actually, like, I experienced my first friend group I had on campus were just the people that lived on my floor, and they were so great and so kind, and I had the best memories with them. But I started to meet other people and more highly motivated people, and I don't necessarily need to be surrounded by highly motivated people all the time, but it's great when my friends can inspire me by how motivated they are, and then I want to go be motivated too. It's kind of like a little bit of a ripple effect, and it's pretty helpful if I do want to go out and do something. It's like, okay, well, if they're doing this, then I can definitely just do this. And so some other
That's how
people,
you boost your frequency. Is that
yeah.
you find a if you're thinking that you need a little inspiration, you just find a frequency that's going to get you there.
Hmm.
So can I ask you, not swaying on either side, but I'm just
Yeah.
curious because although you have a flip phone, so you are
Hmm.
so old school, but you probably have a smartphone too.
Yeah, I've
And
got two phones.
yeah, I know. I was like, gosh, Scott's got to carry around two phones. That is not good. Um, so in your mind, the difference between online and in person as far as how to connect, because both are available to students on campus. So what about this online world versus the in-person world? What would you like to say about that?
I think I'm definitely noticing like a tonal shift just on campus and with other people that I know, and honestly, personally as well. We're all tired of the online world, and it's all we know. And so we've got the people before us have built up such a great online world and such a great platform. And when you think about us as kids, it's much younger people, we were honestly like the test subjects for all of the online platforms. We were the people trying it all out. And it's not that we were the first generation to try everything out, but we kind of got the more fine-tuned experience
Hmm.
before it blew up to what this like AI area is going to be with like Gen Alpha and like what they're experiencing. We experience like, okay, now everyone's going to start having flat screen TVs in their home, and they're going to be big, or they're going to be nicer. Everyone's carrying around a smartphone. I grew up with everyone carrying around a smartphone, not a flip phone, not a brick phone, not a car phone, but a smartphone.
Hmm.
Um, and we still had a house phone, but by the time that I was getting into middle school, the house phone was no longer used. Everyone had the smartphone. I had the house phone. My job was to have the house phone if ever something was going wrong. I was allowed to have a phone, so I had the house phone.
Okay.
Um, and then we've got technology, and we were the first iPad kids. So we got like I got a Leap Pad or like a DS, but then other people were like getting either they were getting iPads or getting phones. And so, make a really long story long, a lot of us here. the smartphone is and the technology is so ingrained into us that what we all crave a lot more is the escape from it. What's frustrating for some people is they don't know that that's what they want. And so, like, I've got some people where it's like they're going to spend the summer with like little to no technology and they're really nervous about it. And I used to be a summer camp kid and I used to be a camp counselor. And my favorite part of the year was when I got to literally turn my phone off and I had no technology and it's me and all of the trees around me and my arts and crafts station. I did the arts and crafts station and then the mountain biking station. I'd start the morning in the arts and crafts, move over to mountain biking in the afternoon. But and they tried to go get me to be a lifeguard over there, but I didn't really want to do that. I only did that when they were like a lifeguard was sick. But so that's like something that since I've had that experience where I can put all of this stuff away, I've honestly craved that experience more than I've craved anything else. And when you talk to other people that have similar experiences, that's what they want most in the world. And you find the most people that are the most anxious and the most upset and the most irritable are the people that are attached to their technology the most. And so, especially here in Boulder, we're a super outdoorsy school. And at the same time, we're digitally up to date. We've got everything here. And
well, I was going to ask, so it's interesting. I think older generations hearing what you just said, that might be an aha moment for them. Like, what does Scott say? Scott says that actually him and many in his generation, if he wants to speak on behalf of, his friend group, they're actually excited about disconnecting and getting more real and getting more interpersonal. I think that they would absolutely love to hear that, to be honest with you. Of course, running a mentorship company, I love hearing that. That being the case, how does that play out in the classroom? So, everybody's trying to move towards AI, and we've got, different universities playing with AI in the classroom and even trying to get AI to bring together groups of people in teamwork type environments for class. So how is that playing out for you and what you're studying? Where are they doing it well, and where do you feel like they're missing the mark?
It's really hard because nobody really knows. And I've used AI. I use AI, but I try not to use it as much as other people do. And it's kind of one of those things where it's like a cookie in the cookie jar. You've got to learn when not to use it. And also, it's really nice when you do get to use it. But it's a tool, not a toy. And I think it kind of goes into some other things where I was talking about earlier, where it's so easy to use, but it's a super slippery slope. Like, if you aren't careful with it, it's not going to be helpful. I don't think AI necessarily belongs in the collegiate level area. At the same time, it is one of the most useful tools that professors and the university and even students have been like, this has made everything a lot easier. And for all those people who are like designing websites and creating code for stuff and writing papers, it might be super helpful, but it's only helpful when you already have those skills. And so you talk to people like in the professional world. I got to talk with some people who like design websites and design experiences for the state of Colorado. Like, they're in charge of like the government experience. And I don't really know what that means. So that's why that's a pretty vague answer. But she was talking about the fact where it's like, well, I've got 40 years of experience under my belt, and now I've got this AI assistant who can help me do my job 4 times faster. Of course, I'm going to use it. But then you come to students like us, we don't have 40 years of experience. We don't even have experience. We've got school and we've got school experience. And so up to this point, and AI only started taking off, I would say, in universities, my sophomore year is when I noticed a really big change from the first year.
Last year.
Basically, last year, yeah. My freshman year, it was present, but there was barely an AI policy. By my sophomore year, there was a huge AI policy, huge plagiarism things. And it's really hard because it's like, well, you built this tool, and do you want us to use it or not? And the university has a really wishy-washy policy on it where it's like, we're either going to fail you out of the university or we're going to give you the equivalent of a Nobel Peace Prize. We don't know. And so to the students, everyone's kind of living in fear if they use AI. And at the same time, if they don't use AI, they'll fall behind. because everything's going so much quicker now. And it's kind of like the issue with like social media too, where if I could unplug and disconnect completely from social media, I would. But in this day and age, as a 21-year-old human being with barely an address, where am I supposed to be getting my news? I don't subscribe to cable. I don't have a newspaper. I've got to use social media to get news. And some people are like, you shouldn't be using social media to get news. And then I turn to the charts that are like, well, social media is the world's most used form of news communication. And so that's kind of like a BS answer for all of the people who don't use it. And then at the same time, you've got all this like AI deepfake stuff going on. And it's really hard to be like, and then for the people who aren't in university, we spend so much time in classes deciphering what is and what isn't AI. And we are wrong a lot of the time. But then like I present some of that stuff to like my parents or some other of like family members, they can't tell the difference. So now they've got all of their experience where AI is super helpful for them to make this better. And at the same time, they're the ones most easily tricked by AI. And then you've got all of us who have no experience in anything, and we're using AI either a lot or not at all to help us progress into the world of what is going to become the world of AI. And now, but no one trusts us to do anything because they all think all we do is use AI. And so it's kind of like this weird balance where it's a little hypocritical and at the same time totally understandable. Like we don't have a track record, and at the same time, I'm not the one on Facebook getting tricked by like an AI picture or AI videos, which is really hard for a lot of people. And then it happens in class, and then we'll watch it. I've got a foreign policy class where we watch some of these things, and my professor literally said, I will know if you use AI because no one in this room could make something look that good. And it's really funny. And then our professor, after we submitted, we made political cartoons for one of our assignments, just as like an icebreaker for the first week of school. And mine was really bad. I'm not an artist. I drew it on my note-taking app. Like I take all of my notes physically, but it's on an iPad. Mm-hmm. Whereas a lot of people take notes on their computer, but like everyone knows how unhelpful taking notes on computer is versus actually writing it out. And at the same time, carrying around a notebook and notepad is a little inconvenient. I digress.
I think that was, for the audience, I think that was a Scott tip, by the way. That was a tip of the day.
Yeah. Like I love having my iPad. I will die on that hill. But,
so you did your cartoon.
I did my cartoon. And it wasn't that great, but it was really funny. Like that was the whole point. Like have fun with like where our political climate is. Just, I mean, like what we can't do anything right now. So just have fun with it. And then only one person submitted the AI one, but then you saw like 30 comments underneath it being like, this person used AI. Because the professor went, if anyone uses it, you can just call it out. That's okay. And so it's kind of...
Was that an embarrassment for that person?
My opinion is darn, that might have been embarrassing for you, but you knew the rules, right? And it's like, you took a risk. Good job on taking a risk. It was a bad risk. It was a bad bet. And I mean, like, it's not like I knew that person personally, mm-hmm. and that professor didn't fail them. So it's not like they didn't get credit. They didn't get a very good grade. And they might have failed that assignment, but they didn't fail them out of the class. But I mean, my other thought process is AI, especially in college, should not be the primary person doing your work for you, or should not be the primary thing doing the work. Because then I go back to the thing I said all the way at the beginning. I'm paying an ungodly amount of money to be here. It's my job to learn what's going on, not my job to teach the AI how to do my job. Well, if everyone else...
I got to say, Scott, you were even on the tour, I remember you mentioning that you were very fiscally responsible. I think the fact that you have to work for your degree and you know every dollar that's going in and out makes a big difference on the fact that you take your collegiate career so seriously and you are squeezing every bit out of it. So, okay, to sum up the conversation on tech versus interpersonal, I find it fascinating, the lens in which you see this as a 21-year-old in school. And I think it's very smart. I think that, at best it's confusing, right? Mm-hmm. Or maybe even dangerous. but it's just everybody's trying to figure it out, whether it's the university, the student, the parents of the student, the people that are hiring you for the future. But I think your lens is a really unique lens. So I appreciate you sharing that. So what do you want? What do you want the people that are outside the bubble, the people that are outside of school that you are going to be interviewing with in about a year when you graduate? What do you want them to know about you and or your generation?
I think, me personally, like as of right now, I don't know if this is a pro or con. As of right now, I have the worst, like work-life balance, and I really like it. I love to work. I love to, and what's really nice about all of my jobs, I've got so many and they're all sprinkled around everywhere, but I'm really passionate about everything that I'm doing. I'm not doing anything that I wouldn't like sign my life away to a little bit. Like I really love giving tours. I love being an RA. I love all the classes that I'm taking. I don't like to waste my time.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and that's where AI is really helpful, right? Like, and I should know how to use that, especially in this day and age. Using AI to help not waste time is really great. I also know how to make things for myself. My favorite thing to do is I grade presentations for people. And so and some people have figured out how to use AI to make presentations for them. And ooh, I can tell. Making a presentation is easy. Making a good presentation is hard. And people are trying to make it so much easier, whether it's Canva, making all these like templates for everybody. But
Well, wait, let me ask you, what's the difference? If you can tell and you're like making a good presentation is hard, what are the key differentiators for you?
in that specific world, I don't like to, and this is kind of like almost like even more meta than the way that I mean it, but someone else made that for them. Let's say the template. They made the template for them. And if you're going to use a template and just slap a bunch of words all over it, that what you want to say, and then move on and then give that presentation was not customized to you. The presentation had nothing to do with you. Someone else made it. You just copied it. And then you gave them credit at the end when it said, made at slides go. But when I'm giving a presentation, recently gave a presentation on like government and healthcare. And
did you solve all the world's problems in that? If you did, please share it with us right now.
Didn't solve any of the problems. That goal was to have like a bipartisan view on what's going on with government, what's going on with healthcare, and how they're like this or how they're like this.
Okay.
But what's really good about that presentation, I number one, I don't use a template. But if I made that template work for me. I changed everything about it to make it fit for me. In the work life, you've got a job description, you've got a job you need to do, but I'm going to do it how I'm supposed to be doing it. And that might mean there might be a little bit of creative liberty in how that needs to get done. I always told my mom, I'm a complainer, I'm not a quitter. So even if you want me to do if you want me to do the dishes, I will do the dishes. I'm going to let you know how upset it make me, and then I'm going to go do it. But you've got to let me do both if you want it to get done. If you shut me down, if you don't let me complain, I won't go do it. Now it doesn't mean like I'm going to go up to my boss every single day and be like, I hate my job and I hate you, but I'm going to go do it now. That's not what I mean by that. But it's just like you've got to let people. You've got to emote a little bit and understand the frustration about it. But then if there's any point in time at which I don't like something about what I'm doing, I like track what I don't like, and then I try and make it more efficient. I did that with the RA role. I went and I collected a bunch of data on how many RAs, how many students, what buildings that were all in, and like the metrics of how that whole situation like worked out. And the residence life housing department is changing everything about the RA role. Nothing next year will be the same. I kind of touched on that a little bit,
right.
But nothing about next year will be similar as it was to this year. And a lot of people are nervous about it because we are the largest school to try this. The other schools that have tried this system have 500 people living on campus. We've got over 7,000. So it's a little bit of a different process.
Yep.
And I wasn't okay with it at first. I was really upset about it. So I took all this data, I reorganized everything, and I went, okay, this is our current layout. And the whole point of them changing it was to be like, we want the work to be more equitable. And I kind of called BS on that. So I went and took all this data on all these people, and I went, okay, well, we moved one RA over to this building and took two RAs from this building and spread them out in between those two buildings, we'd have the same amount of residents. Because the main problem is people don't have the same amount of residents. And what I mean by that is people over in like Kittredge, which is it's a beautiful place over on the side of the Colorado campus. They've got around 19 to 21 residents an RA. That's a great workload. That's 19 to 21 people that I'm checking in on. I'm making sure, okay, I'm throwing events for, I'm creating like these little door decks for, I'm like making my floor look great. I have 44. So I've got double, if not a little bit extra, of how many people those people do. And the requirements for how much work we complete are almost the same. I have to have...
And the pay or the benefits are equal?
They're equal. There's no difference.
Okay.
And I mean, the only difference is they live further away from main campus. Maybe that's a big pro, but it's not it's not double the amount of work of a pro.
Got it.
And then I have the second most amount of residents on campus. The other one is on the middle floor of Crosman. They have 55 residents for one RA. That's a lot of people. And so, and you're on call all of the time, and you're making sure they're okay, and you're dealing with their problems. First year students have a lot of problems, and that's totally okay. You should. You're doing who knows what. You're exploring a whole new side of yourself. You're exploring independence. You're exploring a whole new level of responsibility. The thing is, the RAs are the first to notice all of that. If your family or friends aren't the people who notice that, we do, because we live in the same area as you do. And so dealing with a lot of those consequences of other people's actions has a big effect. And so the university went, okay, well, we'll just switch up the roles. And again, like I said, I wasn't a big fan of that. So I just went, well, if you changed how many RAs, you have to hire 0 new people. There's no additional roles that need to be filled. If you just changed everything out, the average resident to RA ratio would be like 30 students to one person, or like it was more like 27. And the university decided to split the roles up. And now the average resident to RA ratio is going to be 60. And so and now my responsibilities are less. I do not ever have to hold this phone again. I don't have to deal with being on call. I don't have to fill out a bunch of incident reports anymore. But now I'm managing 60 students instead of 44. So I'm now adding a few, like 15 extra students onto that.
How do you feel about that?
Oh, I'm totally okay with it. Do you know who I'm worried about? The people who are going from 19 students to 60 students. And then the maximum amount is now going up to 70. And so, and actually, if I can be so for real, everyone can know this, I'm actually only going up to 46. I am the only RA on campus who will have 46 residents. I really it's because of the building that I'm moving to.
The arrows are coming your way, Scott. The arrows are coming your way.
I worked really hard for 2 years. I had way more work than everybody else. And now next year, I'm going to have significantly less work. I will have the same amount of work when it comes to like engaging with students as I basically did this year. I'm only adding 2 students to my plate, whereas other people are adding 50. So I'm like, do you know what? Like, it's kind of like a little bit of like, and I mean this the most kind way to all of the RAs who have to deal with this change, but it's almost kind of like I'm getting my slice of the pie. Finally, I'm kind of getting a little bit of the relief.
You know what's so fascinating as an outsider listening to all of this and not having been an RA? One, I have mad respect for RAs. And two, that you just, for parents out there, for, students, there's a lot of politics on campus. I mean, it's its own little world of politics. And, when you get involved, these are things that, Scott, I have a feeling you're going to be very adept when you come out of the bubble, because you're going to have had all of these different experiences, and you're going to have figured it out and moved through them, and you'll know what you'd like and you'll know what you. So I got to ask, because you are somebody who speaks so freely about like all the different things, and because you're so involved, how can we, and you look very put together, right? You sound very put together. You've got the resume that's like, this guy is so put together. How can we on the outside of the bubble help you? Like what would you like us to help you do as you transfer outside? And if you can't speak for yourself, maybe you've had conversations with some of your friends and you guys have said, well, so we've done all of this here. And just like you were a freshman coming from high school to college, you're now going to be the freshman class of the new world. And so what is it that you want to know as freshman class new world, or what is it that you want help with?
I that's a really hard question because if I'm going to be fully honest, like I don't know what I need help with right now. There's a new challenge every day. My parents are moving. I've got to figure out where I'm going to be living when I go home. I reached out to my sister. I'll be living with my sister. My commute from work is going from 4 minutes to 45 minutes, but that's like I'm relying on my family for that. I don't know what I'm doing for my job next year or the following year. And that's not really anyone else's job to figure out for me.
Is there anybody that you talk to about that? Do you have somebody on campus that you're like,
there
hey,
are
let's figure this out?
there are a million career services opportunities that people can go talk to. So like that's one thing where it's like, and that's kind of where it's a difficult question because there are so many resources for people. Our job as students is to use them. Our job as younger people is to use them. And I guess for like people who have been,
do you think they're getting used? Do you think the majority of students are tapping into all of those things?
I think enough students are for our university specifically to keep them. And I think enough people are for our university to want to invest in them. And at the same time, I don't want the university shoving some of these resources down people's throats because then they'll just resent it. And so they offer it, and yeah, it's being advertised, and yeah, some people don't know about it when they should know about it. But there's kind of like it's like a double-edged sword. It is up to the students, it's up to us to figure out what we need and what we want. And it is really, really helpful when the university can provide a lot of those answers or give us a map of like, here are some steps that you could take to get in this general direction. And at the same time, like people keep talking about not wanting to give a bunch of handouts and wanting people to work for it. And there are some areas where it's like that should have been harder and other areas where it's like that should have been easier. It's kind of hard to have an example on it, but like these classes that I'm taking that I'm paying all this money for should not be easy. They shouldn't be. But finding housing should be. Being able to live here should be. Being able to pay for food should be. The basic needs of what is here should be. Being able to find a job. It shouldn't be the easiest experience in the world, but at the same time, I'm submitting my job applications to an AI bot, not a person. And so if I could change one thing in the world, it would to be like kind of remove that experience.
Can I ask you, because I don't know the process. So you're submitting your resume to an AI bot. Is this a university sponsor? Why are you submitting it to an AI bot? Who told you to submit it to an AI bot?
So if you apply through LinkedIn, if you apply through Indeed, if you apply for where everyone, because that's like where we know to go find jobs. People have created all of these internet capacities and things to use. They're the tools that have been shoved down our throats all of our lives. They're the ads that were showed when we were kids. You're looking for a job, this is where you go. Now, I don't know if it was targeted towards the kids or the parents sitting at home with their kids, but those are the tools that we know how to use. At the same time, those are all being monitored by AI now. Like you will get a response within 30 seconds, you are not qualified for the job, or you will never hear back from them. And now all these websites have these reputations of you're just submitting. You could submit 200 applications a day and hear back by the end of the day by all of them that it's a no. So applying for jobs has never been easier, and getting rejected from a job has never been easier.
Have you applied for a job with someone you know?
And that's where it's like building connections is really great. And like I now know I should probably be having connections. I should probably be connecting with people to find jobs. Actually, it's just easier to do it that way now from experience knowing that. And other people just didn't use the opportunity they had in college or in their life experiences to get to know people. Or be like, I need this job. I need to be at this location at this specific time to meet that person. So then when I go submit my resume later or I email them, they know to look out for that. And that's not a hard skill to learn, but I don't know if a lot of people have learned it. And so it's kind of like it's all over the place. It's a big mess because every time you come up with a solution, a whole new list of problems you present a whole new list of problems. And there's a part of me where it's just like people need to figure it out. It is not up to the world to figure it out for them. And at the same time, the world should not making it be difficult to figure it out. And so where's that line and what area is it like this versus this? And like as a 21-year-old who only has so much life experience, I have no clue. And so my job, honestly, when I'm here at this university or when I'm at the country club that I work at, is to make it so that no one knows how difficult it is. It looks like ease. It looks like everything's going great. I know that's the goal of like my department at school is like they don't want the students or parents to know about all the difficulties because all they want their people to be worried about is their first year college experience. And then when I'm working at the country club, like my job is to make sure that kids are swimming, people are having a good time, and there's an event every week. That's what I'm worried about. They don't need to be worried about the chlorine levels and oh, we're understaffed or oh, we're dealing with all these different kinds of problems because who wants to know about those kinds of things? You just want to go enjoy the pool. And then when I'm going to apply for jobs and go all those kinds of things, I'm like, okay, my job was to do this. If I got no feedback that day, that might be a good thing. Now, I love at the end of our tours, we give like the little QR code that says, hey, give us some feedback.
Yes.
And at the same time, if no one had anything bad to say about the experience, that is a small win in my book.
I gave you glowing review on our.
Oh, thank you.
FYI. You know, I appreciated how you laid all of that out. And you're right. And I'm very happy to hear that as a junior, you are moving into and so therefore I need to get better connected with human beings, get off the AI bots online in order to pursue a potential career path or just connections for opportunities in the future. And you're right. So I did step into the arena. I did step into my alma mater as a volunteer and as somebody who wanted to serve early and often. And I delivered in the time, talent, and treasure of what every university wants their alumni to do. And it was in that opportunity that I saw your face. I saw a reflection of my face in this whole new generation and how, you know, even though we're a generation removed, nothing has changed as far as my personal struggle in finding opportunities after school. And now your personal struggle in possibly looking for these opportunities after school. You're trying to say, well, can it be a little bit easier on me? I am somebody, I'm Scott, I'm going out, I'm maximizing everything I can, but I'm still not finding this path very easy. So I hope to make that path easier for you through what I call academic adjacent turn mentoring. I hope to make that happen because I do believe in the power of interpersonal connection. And I do believe, Scott, you are somebody, and for people who are listening, you are somebody who obviously wants to dive in. You are somebody who loves to participate in lots of different things. You are happy about an unbalanced work-life balance because you have such a level of curiosity. And so for those who are listening, I believe Scott would be open to a mentor. Is that right?
Yes, I would be.
Yes. And Scott is interested in his political science career. But why don't you talk to us about, because that wasn't, when you first told me what you were going to do right after school, I was like, and then we go to this route. So tell me about what you plan on doing right after school. Because it's not really poli-sci based.
No, I right now, and this could change, and I'll set this up a little bit. Service is really important to me, and service is really important to my family. And so I am in a multi-generational service-based family where my grandfather helped build what the national parks are today. He helped build up what California's national parks look like and even some of their ski resorts. My mom was heavy into environmental work within California, and she was also one of the first like top female firefighters of like wildfire where she lived. It wasn't very long lived, but that's where she was. And so when
meet your mom, she sounds like such an awesome lady.
She's one of my favorite people on the planet. And I love my dad, and I love my dad's side of the family too. But my mom is someone she is an extreme fighter. Whereas my dad is an extreme caregiver, my mom is an extreme fighter. And so
We'll see if we
There's a
can't get this one out for Mother's Day because I'd love to be able to have her listen to this for Mother's Day because it's such an homage to her. But go ahead.
That would be awesome. So my whole life, I've wanted to do some sort of service, but I haven't figured out really what that looked like. And secretly, my sister won't admit it, but she did too. And so my sister now works like the police department where close by where we lived, and she's behind the scenes and she works on all the computers. And so I've been thinking for a really long time, okay, like, would I want to go into the military? No, that seems a little too scary and a little too, especially right now, it's a little too politically motivated to join the military. Even though I do like believe in what they stand for, it's just right now not really what I'm thinking I would be into. And so then I went over to the police or even becoming like a doctor. And I was like, well, I'm smart, but I do not want to be responsible for having someone open on a table and taking care of them or prescribing the medication. That's a little too much for me. And then being a police officer, I'm like, okay, that's a little hard. And for its own reasons. So then I like really thought about becoming a firefighter. And I've only had this thought for the service-based thought has been since I was in 7th grade. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to become a teacher, because I was like, that seems like a hard service-based job where you really just boots on the ground helping people. But recently I've kind of had like a body transformation and where, being a firefighter wasn't really an option before. I wasn't like in the right shape to be a firefighter, but I did some big changes, and I feel like now in this life I am in shape to be a firefighter, and I'm large, I'm strong, and ultimately like I want to help people, and so that's kind of one route where I'm like, I don't know if it will happen. And I really want to make it happen. So I'm going to go to the firefighter school, and I'm going to, like, my post-grad plan right now is to go to firefighter school and to figure out what that looks like, and take classes on it. And then they have trainings, and it's anywhere from 3 to 6 months long. And I'm hoping next year during school, I can get my EMT certification so that I can make that process a little bit quicker. But that's something. It's really weird when I tell people what I want to do with my life, because I say, well, right now I want to go be a firefighter. And then in a few years, once I've done that for a while and really feel like I've given back to not only my family's, what my family's put into the world, but also like what my community's done for me, then I want to go into politics. And I'm like, let's make a mess up on Capitol Hill. I mean, we've got some stuff to fix up. We've got some things to change. And I want to be in the front line to make that happen. I don't know what capacity that looks like. And then I'm like, and when I'm done with that, let's go teach in a classroom with a bunch of 16-year-olds who don't care about government, because the classes I would want to teach are like history and government classes.
Okay.
So I'm like, and look at like what a interesting, to me, I think about that and it makes me chuckle a little bit, because I'm just like plans change all the time. However, I've always wanted to do something service-based. I've been really involved with politics for a really long time. And I've since I was in middle school, I knew that I wanted to be a teacher. And I think up until until getting to college, I wasn't really able to articulate what that all meant. And my dad actually has been very clear with me. He's like, you do not have to have the same career your whole life. My dad did. And he moved around a few different times, but he had the same career. And my mom moved around a lot, and she had a lot of different careers, but I saw my dad as like a stable human being. And there's a little bit of me that's like, I kind of strive for that. But the fact that he came up to me and he was like, no, like, you do not have to have the same career. You can do all 3 of those in the span of 3 years if you really wanted to. That wouldn't look too good on a resume, but like you really could if that's what you wanted to do. And so that's
your father sounds like a pragmatic dreamer too.
He's like the calm in the storm. I consider my mom and I to be like a tornado all of the time. And like, I love that about us. I feel like my mom and I are really similar, but
he's the eye.
My dad is the one that can calm the storm down. He can have a good conversation with you. He's also going to show up. So it's like, I do not take lightly how blessed I was with the people who got to be my parents and who decided they wanted to raise me the way that they did. And there were a bunch of bumpy roads and hard times. That does not discount all of like the hard work that the both of them put in to like get me here. They cannot help me with my collegiate career. It's just not in the books. but they got me this far, and it's now my job to, I don't want to say prove myself because I don't feel like I need to prove myself to my parents, but I want to show them that all of that hard work was worth it. And all of the late nights going to three different sports games, like I'd go to basketball and I'd go to tennis and then I'd like go play golf for a while, or we'd struggle to like, my parents would be like, well, we've got groceries and we've got to figure that out. So we're going to go do other stuff instead. There were hard times, there were really good times. My parents were definitely there. Our money situation fluctuated a lot. And so that also taught me a lot about how to budget, how to save.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'm 21 years old. There are days when that paycheck hits and all I want to do is go shopping. I'm a professional online shopper, but I also know that's like, okay, like right now, like 80% of my paycheck should be going into my savings. I don't have a lot of, like, because of the way that I've set myself up, I don't have too many expenses. And that's really nice. As of right now, my phone bill and my insurance are the only thing my parents do pay for. Super grateful for that. Wouldn't want, right now, I'm not quite ready to add that onto my bill. But everything else I am taking care of. And like they do help, my mom will help me. Like if I want to go on a trip, she'll be like, okay, like I can help pay for the hotel, or I can help pay for gas. Like my parents do help and support me. And like I am super grateful for them both.
I can tell you have an amazingly grateful heart, and
Mhm.
I think you've honored your parents in just being grateful and going out and pursuing your best self. And whether it's firefighting, being an EMT, getting on Capitol Hill, or becoming a teacher, and all of it, I have a
Mhm.
feeling, Scott, you are going to do every single one of those things and better for all the people who get to connect with you in those lanes. What I'm very excited about is that you represent your university very, very well. They should be so
Thank you.
proud. They should be so proud of you. I was really blown away with the amount of information that you shared with us. You definitely bleed your colors. That is for sure. And even though you have more than your fair share of students as an RA, I think that was on purpose. And so good for them. Good for them. And for the parents that are out there listening, you got to hope that there's a Scott that is an RA to your student as they're trying to figure out that freshman year in particular, because like he said, they're underneath a lot of pressure to just try to figure themselves out in this new world of independence. Scott, I could talk to you forever because
I know I could see this. It's going great.
you are absolutely fascinating. So let's leave on an interesting fact. What is it that people don't know about you? Oh, wait, I think I might know something about you. So let's get back to the very beginning. Your calendaring. I'm a big
Mhm.
fan of your calendaring method because it looks like a unicorn. It is every
Yes.
color of every
Yes.
rainbow. And how does that help? For all of those who are not used to coloring your calendar, how do you color your calendar? Because you've got 6 jobs and you're taking 21 credit hours typically. So how do you color your calendar and why?
Okay, I can totally show you. So
Oh, it is rainbow.
everything is super color coded. So and then when swim season starts, it's all in blue. Because
What color did we get? What color did Turn Talks get?
let's see here. Turn Talks was brown, which is what I tend to do for all of my work. So
Okay.
for my CA positions and for basically everything that's connected to
But was
my
this work, Scott? Was this work today?
well, no, it was really honestly perfect way to start my morning. But like it's my fun job. My fun job is the brown,
Okay.
which is the
I'll
one
take it. I'll take it.
whereas my RA job is gray. It's like a blue gray. Everything free time related is green because green is the happiest color. Like yellow's the happiest color, but I made yellow my school calendar. So like if I've got a class for the day, it's in yellow. Oh, it's a little hard to see.
Yeah.
Because of our school colors. Obviously, I had to choose that. Then
Yes.
giving a tour is in red.
Okay.
And then like everything free time related is in green, and then everything homework related is in lime green. Because it's like, hey, this is your free time that you're choosing to do a bunch of homework with. And then once I get to swim season, which is by far the best time of the year, and I don't care what anybody says. I love swim season. I everyone in my swim team loves swim season too. But it's not as accurate because it doesn't have everything in it. But I've got everything in
Oh,
blue.
yes. Cobalt blue. Very nice.
So
It's very
because it's
nice.
all swim team related. But I just think like for me, my to-do list and my calendar, I made with a bunch of fun colors because I wanted it to be fun. And every year I've gotten a little bit better at managing my calendar. And every year the colors change just a little bit just so I can make it a little bit more fun, a little different, a little new. Or if I have a new job, I get to add a new color to it all. But my calendar only works because I'm passionate about all the things that I'm doing. If I hated three of those jobs, I'd either leave or I'd have to make it a really fun color so I can convince myself it was really fun. Whereas I started out, it's kind of, sorry, this is not a very helpful tangent, but my calendar started out as just brown and green because I love trees. I'm from Washington, so I love a tree. And so I'm like, my day is going to be my two favorite colors, which is brown and green. And then I started doing way more swim team stuff. And then I realized how much better I look in blue. And so then I started adding more blue. Blue became one more a color I use more often. And then this year I really just said, screw it. The whole calendar should just be a bunch like I used to have like 4 different browns and 4 different greens for all the different things I was doing. And it would be like all the way from a really light green to a really dark green.
Thank God you're not colorblind. But
Yes.
I like more of the varied colors because it's more fun. It's more you. You're
Way more
into
fun.
all of these different things, and it screams everything that you are, and you're just such a joy. And I hope
I really appreciate this conversation. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's my privilege. Scott, thank you so much for giving us the insight of Gen Z on campus, in the thick of it, involved in so many different things. You did an amazing job during the tour. I knew having you on the podcast would just open up different areas. The whole conversation on AI, on whether it's tech versus in person. I really am hopeful that with who you are and how you present, that you do everything you can to get yourself further networked because whoever's going to pick you up for whatever role you're going to want in life is going to be very fortunate to add you to your team. But I will say he's going to let you know how he feels about things, which, hiring manager, we need to know these things too. So for all of us who don't mind a little feedback, bring it, Scott. We'll take your feedback. All right. I'm going to have to say goodbye, but because I know your calendar, I just saw it and you've got things to do. So I cannot take you away from all of your.
I've got a final in 4 hours and I've got to do some studying I got to fill up my note card with all the things that I need.
Okay, well, it is final season. Do an amazing job, and I hope to see you back out at CU Boulder very soon, and we'll keep in touch. For anybody who wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way to do it? Do you have an email address? Are you on LinkedIn? What would you like?
I'm on LinkedIn, richard.scott.seibel. I've got an email. It's also on my link. That's probably just going to be the easiest way to reach me is via LinkedIn.
Okay.
And then because everything else, social media wise and email wise, is pretty. I tend to keep pretty private. But LinkedIn, that's pretty much where everyone can have access to if you want to get to know me. I've been told I'm pretty good at sales. So if you can convince me to come over to sales, I'd go do that. But right now I got to go do some public service work.
Okay. All right. Everybody's heard that. He's going to be on the market for a career in about a year. So good luck in your last year of school, and we will chat with you soon. For everybody else, thanks for joining us today. Thanks for listening to my chat with Scott. Like I said, we've got amazing young people out there. You can hear their dreams. You can hear their desire. You can hear their enthusiasm. We're very fortunate to be able to bring them through. And so as a mentor myself, let's find ways to connect with people like Scott, because you never know how he can make a difference in this world. And he's going to make a difference in many different areas. So until next time, y'all have a great day. Thank you so much for listening to Turn Talks, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Thank you for listening to Turn Talks. To learn more about our robust mentoring platform, visit us at turnmentoring.com. Join us next time for more enlightening conversations.